Hey Peculiars, it's me, Amanda the Peculiar Brunette, and today we're going to be talking about October's full moon. Don't forget to sign up for the Magical Monday newsletter so you can stay updated on all things peculiar. And I do lots of fun stuff in there, like, a monthly desktop wallpaper. I do giveaways through there, so lots of fun stuff. You should come check it out and sign up. All right, I think that's everything. Let's jump in. So October's full moon is typically going to be the hunter's moon. Occasionally it is the harvest moon, which I talked about in September's video. But most of the time it's going to end up being the hunter's moon, and so we're going to talk about that today. Now, as I mentioned before, each of these videos is meant to be kind of a general overview of each month. If you're wanting specifics for the year that we're in, check out the blog post that I've linked in the description below. I always keep those updated, so if there's like a super moon or an eclipse or something important going on with that moon for that year, check that out and I'll have that updated so you know what's going on. The hunter's moon derives its name from the hunting season that's taking place this time of year. So right now it's the season of the hunt, and deer and elk are in rut, which is basically what mating season is called, right? And they've had all summer long and early autumn to be eating a lot of food, so they're really well nourished. And it now is basically a time of like hunting, preservation, and basically preparation for any icy cold days and chilly nights ahead. The hunter's moon's spiritual meaning has Anglo-Saxon origins and is really focused on internal work and kind of self-reflection. Now is the time that the dark half of the year begins, and we're able to accept it and embrace it with open arms. I did find an interesting fact on NASA that said that the hunter's moon name was first used in the Oxford English Dictionary in 1710, which I think is kind of interesting. I think it's really important to take a look at our ancestors and how they would have had to prepare and get ready for winter before, industrialization. And, if you didn't prepare for winter, if you didn't have plenty of food stored, if you didn't have, some of your cattle that you had killed in order to have plenty of meat, it can be really hard to get through the winter. And I think that's something that's important to consider right now during the October moon. It's considered the end of the harvest season, and it's kind of just a good time to get ready for winter and to prep for it. You can even feel the magical energy in the air right now as we head towards Samhain and the veil continues to grow thinner. This makes it a great time to connect with any of your spirit guides, ancestors, or past loved ones. It's an opportunity for spiritual growth, goal setting, gratitude, and basically finding ways to slow down and really just enjoy this autumn season. I found this really great quote from Britannica about moon worship that I wanted to give to you as well. It says, "The sacredness of the moon has been connected to the basic rhythms of life and the universe. A widespread phenomenon appearing in various eras and cultures, moon worship has engendered a rich symbolism and mythology. The moon is viewed in terms of the rhythmic life of the cosmos and is believed to govern all vital change. The cyclical process of disappearance and appearance of the moon is the basis of the widespread association of the moon with the land of the dead, the place to which souls ascend after death, and the power of rebirth." Now, October's hunter's moon does have some alternative names depending on the cultures or the point in history, so I'm going to jump into those now. So one of the first ones is sanguine, or the blood moon, which is from English medieval times. I wasn't exactly sure. I tried to look around and see if I could find a source for why it was called the blood moon. I couldn't find anything that I thought was a reliable source. The only thing I can think of is that, Samhain also has a lot of these connotations of, kind of blood and death. And that's because they would bring in cattle to be killed and slaughtered, basically, so that they were able to survive throughout the winter. And so I'm wondering if maybe that's associated with it being blood, or the sanguine moon. I think that's how you say it, sanguine. So I'm wondering if that's a meaning. I'm not sure, but I kind of have a hunch that that's why it was called that. So we also have Harvest Month, which is the Cherokee Native American origins. Remember, many different cultures celebrated the moon as an entire month and not just, one day. Chinese origins is called the kindly moon. Another name for it is time when the corn is taken in. That's Apache, which has Native American origins. The next one is the deer rutting moon. I've kind of already explained what that means. The rut is basically mating season. That one has Cheyenne, Great Plains, which is Native American origins. There's also the seed fall moon, which has Celtic origins. And lastly, we have the changing season moon, which is Sioux origins, which has, Native American origins as well. October's full moon, just like other full moons, is a very potent time for magic and rituals. So here are some correspondences that help get you started in your celebration or ritual. So one of the spiritual meanings and intentions, we've got balance, gratitude, transitions, divination work. This can include anything like tarot, scrying, runes, a Ouija board or spirit board, pendulums, Celtic ohms, etc. Also, psychic messages, dealing with the afterlife, shadow work, harvesting, dream work, and then psychopomps, which, if you don't know what a psychopomp is, it's Greek. It's basically a spirit, human, or being who guides souls who have recently crossed over. Psychopomps help them transition into the afterlife from the mortal realm. Some examples of that can be like your ancestors or loved ones. There's like the Grim Reapers, sparrows, Hecate is sometimes seen. There's plenty different ones that are pretty interesting that you could align depending on your spiritual beliefs and your practice, your culture, that you could use to represent October's moon as well. The colors that go along with October's full moon are always going to be things that you can look at seasonally and see wherever you're located at. But some examples are like a dark ruby red, a deep purple, black, more of a darker burnt orange color, silver, deep navy blue, and gold. Crystals that typically align with the intentions of October's hunter's moon are amethyst, black tourmaline, quartz, obsidian, moonstone, bloodstone, and carnelian. When it comes to celebrating October's full moon or doing any kind of ritual work, I normally focus mine around preparing for Yule, preparing for the coming of winter and darkness. That can look like a lot of different things. Sometimes that is making sure that I have all the clothes that I need. I go through I know it sounds kind of boring, but I'll go through my wardrobe and be like, okay, I'm pulling out, late summer things, because here in Idaho, it's still pretty warm, so I'm still wearing kind of summer clothes, so I'm in that transition going into winter. So I normally prioritize making sure that I have the things that I need. That can also look like going into my garden and harvesting, the tomatoes or the zucchini. And you'll see that here in a minute. I totally forgot to harvest my zucchini, and I have yellow zucchini this year, and they got way too big. So you can watch me try to deal with those here in a little bit. Or sometimes I'll just be like harvesting herbs, or sometimes I'll make some smoke cleansers that I can have here or that I can gift away. Basically doing anything like getting ready for Yule and like winter solstice. Like, what gifts am I gonna give? Is there anything? Sometimes I'll do like vanilla extract, right? And you have to make that, and that has to sit for 6 to 8 weeks. Any tinctures that you might be making for family members, or one of the other things I'm going to be doing for this October's moon is I'm making these slippery elm balls, which I heard about from She Is of the Woods, and I'm going to show you here. I'm going to make some of them. so you'll see what I'm doing. But basically she just said that you take sage and infuse it into honey, which I've already done. And then the slippery elm sounds like it's like a tree bark, a type of tree, and the bark, I guess, is really good for your throat. It kind of helps decongest, which the sage does as well. So kind of the combined of those two things. And it sounds like it's supposed to get kind of like into a dough consistency. And then once you roll that out, you can just cut it basically to look like throat lozenges, and you can keep it in the fridge, which it will last a really long time because honey doesn't really go bad. So I don't know, I'm kind of excited, but I'll show you guys that here too in a minute. Some other celebration and ritual ideas I normally do are basically just things that are really connecting me to the season. What's going on right now, you know? Depending on where it falls in the month, I might do like something like visit a graveyard, maybe clean up some of the headstones or add some flowers to the ones that I feel connected to. Sometimes I'll do things that I think honor my ancestors and, like, you know, my line or any loved ones that I have. So that's kind of how I do it. I have more ideas on my blog. If you want to check that out, that's in the description. But let's go through. I'll show you some ways that I celebrated October's full moon. one other thing I wanted to mention too before I go is that now is also a really good time to start looking around for things that you might want to add to your Yule log for winter solstice. Because right now I'm drying some like sunflowers, and I've been going, I've got cosmos out there, and I've got all different kinds of like herbs and stuff growing. So now is a good time, even if you don't have a garden, like you might, go on a walk in your neighborhood or at a local park and find plenty of little like twigs or dried leaves or flowers or anything that you can, with permission, of course, anything that you can use to add to your Yule log. Now's a good time to start saving all those. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that you guys have a wonderful October hunter's moon. Lots of love to you. And remember, as always, stay peculiar. Check out this hoodie I bought. How cool is that? I'm super obsessed. My hair looks so flat. And so October's full moon. No, I don't like that. My hair is so flat. The hunter's moon name. The name hunter's moon.